But I always say, for those who believe or are sure that they are fine as they are in this earthly binary worlds, well, this message, this message or these explanations aren't for them. This message or these explanations aren't for them. It will be better for them to dedicate themselves to something else or do things more important than these ones. Of course, in this respect, everyone has their own path. No one is obligated to a certain transcendence, whether one does not see it or does not accept it or surrenders to it. I only show in my case what I had been taught. It is necessary to understand a polygram. Of course, for all this, to understand it as, for example, to give an example of what a polygram is. Imagine you live your daily life, one day after the other, always repetitions of the same things: eating, dressing, sleeping, having sex, having fun, suffering, whatever it is that makes up daily earthly life, from birth until death. It is said that this is a rhythm of life, a normal passage through life for all humans and living beings in this world. Well, these are just repetitions, programs already repeated, made by others before, and it continues in the binary future, the same thing. That is, these are just repetitions. Now, a polygram will be to become aware of these cycles, at least to see them repeating themselves and not being able to do anything, only being carried along by this until death. Of course, there are those who believe they can do something. I will tell them that nothing can be done. I will tell them that nothing can be done about the shell or the surface of things. It is necessary to go to the origin, to the cause of things, as we say, to the core of the total substances, and there something can or could be done. On the shell or the covering, meanwhile, it is just trying to do something only on the shell or the covering of things. Everything will always remain the same, because reaching the core of things is avoided. This is what the common infected, promiscuous, sleeping binary human being of every day has done, does, and will do. Now, seeing at least all this, it is saying that one is already seeing at least the cycles and something of the polygram, since the polygram will already be something more evolved from all these repetitions and their cycles. And then one can get out of the repeated cycles of this. And it would be said then that at least the polygram is perceived, that this will already be like a kind of transcendence or beginning of it. But of course, basically it is passing the Dexpoxorium in order to at least be able to be or try to really be. Meanwhile, being or not being will always be the binary part of life or death. Life and death only were binary. It is not that that is bad or good. They are natural cycles of the races. This will be the basics to understand or grasp the experiences we had regarding binary death and quantum physics in our study groups in Argentina, starting with the passing of several fellow students and missionaries who are no longer with us. In our case, they didn't actually die. We communicate with them all the time. They with us from wherever they supposedly are. To say they didn't die, understand this as a quantum concept and expression, not so much a binary earthly one, because in quantum death, one doesn't actually die, because its quantum logic says They cannot die if they weren't born. Here in this context, binary death is just an illusion, or simply human ignorance, not knowing the process of dying, much less that of being born or living itself. However, in contradiction, you might hear me say, for example, that it's necessary to die to pass to the next state. It will seem like a contradiction. Not to die, but one must die. And many other supposedly contradictory concepts. But it is not like that. I repeat, as long as the contradictions are not overcome, they will always be within them suffering, confused, not knowing where to go, lost, and so on. Well, all this is quantum. It's basic to be able to pass to another state, which is no longer even the same as this one or this one. It is something else. It is something else that would be the closest way to define it. No, the concept of death for all binary civilization and cultures also implies the loss of the biological body. There are certain initiations or very high levels of knowledge that are not for this video, not for this time. Understanding that state called death without the loss of the body implies quantumly passing through Dexpoxorium and reintegrating into the polytremes. But first, we must continue studying, acquire a state of consciousness, power, superior technology, and substantiated matter, translated into presence.